I've been noticing a trend, an uptick in the narrative of UFOs, aliens, and contact over the last few years. There's also been a dramatic increase in the amount of reported sightings of UFOs just over the last few years. We truly are living in strange times, but it gets even stranger when you lift your eyes to the skies. There's footage and there are sightings being captured unlike anything we've ever seen before. We're also seeing repeated sightings of different types of UFOs. We can look to the mainstream press for how this narrative is playing out. You'll see that it's obvious they seem to be preparing us for something. I believe we're able to trace this back to 2017. Concerning this new narrative, concerning this new increase of sightings and also news coverage, I believe this current narrative or current trend began around 2017. This story went mainstream and went worldwide. Most of you probably remember this. The Pentagon admits to running secret UFO investigation for 5 years. At the time, this really was big news for people who are watching the skies, because for so long the government has denied anything as far as UFOs are concerned. And then in 2018, we had a former UFO investigator for the Pentagon come forward saying that the U.S. government has crystal clear pictures of UFOs chased by the military. At the time, this was another big story, and this man made the rounds and did several talk shows and interviews. And here's another big story. Also in 2018, President Trump announced the creation of the Space Force. And then in 2019, we saw several of these big stories coming out. Here's one right here. U.S. Navy pilots report seeing unexplained flying objects. Here's another big disclosure from May 2019. The Pentagon finally admits it investigates UFOs. And here's another national headline from May 2019. Former U.S. defense official, "We know UFOs are real. Here's why that's concerning." So we see the narrative being put in place. This is beyond soft disclosure. You have a U.S. defense official saying, "We know UFOs are real." From June 2019, Trump, senators have been briefed on UFO sightings. Government officials are suddenly coming out of the woodwork to learn more about the Navy's encounters with mysterious aircraft. Also from June 2019, Congress is taking the UFO threat seriously. This is from September of 2019. U.S. government is silently monitoring snake-like UFOs seen across the country. I've been showing footage of these flying serpents for the last few years. That's one of those very specific types of UFOs that are being seen more and more all around the world. Here's another story from 2019 that put UFOs and aliens in the minds of everybody around the world, when there was a large group of people that wound up storming Area 51, or really just kind of standing outside of the gates. But this story garnered worldwide attention. So once again, putting that into the minds of everybody about aliens and UFOs. I believe that this entire event also showed how many people out there are open to the idea of UFOs and aliens and actually welcome them. And now we find the stories from 2020. This one's from April of 2020. Pentagon releases 3 UFO videos taken by U.S. Navy pilots. Once again, this story wasn't only nationwide, this was worldwide. This was big news. This story is from May 5th, 2020. Japan will draw up plans for potential UFO encounters. And now this story from just a couple weeks ago, May 13th, 2020. Navy fighter jets intercepted 8 UFOs and even locked onto one with air-to-air missiles, classified reports show. You may have noticed that many of these UFO stories are coming out of the Pentagon. If you didn't already know this, this is an aerial view of the Pentagon, but the Pentagon is in fact in the shape of a pentagram. This is further evidence that we are ruled and controlled by witchcraft and sorcery. And this makes what I have to show you next, I think, even more interesting. Just a year ago, there was a leaked video out of the United Nations that started making the rounds online. It features a Russian woman who's talking about actual UFO contact that took place at the Pentagon. She's referring to these sightings of pyramids. Several people witnessed this encounter over the Pentagon. She's referring to a giant pyramid UFO that was seen floating above the Pentagon. After watching this footage multiple times, I came up with a few of my own theories. First theory is that this could be a very clear example of Project Bluebeam, if ever there was one, especially in relation to the Pentagon. So perhaps this was some kind of a test, or some kind of a hologram. But the second theory goes more into the spiritual. We know that the pyramid is the symbol of the beast system. This is Lucifer's system. And we know there's witchcraft and the occult tied in with most governments all around the world. But could this have been some form of a spiritual manifestation of this massive pyramid floating above the Pentagon? Are we watching some kind of a ritual taking place? Are we watching a shift in the dimensions and something's coming through? I'll be interested to hear your ideas, so let's take a look at those videos.
This is a fucking alien invasion.
You see it? Where is it? Give me the camera. What is this? I mean, what the fuck is that?
Turn left. Left. Have you lost it? Look back! Look back!
I got you, baby. I see it.
Turn right! Turn right! Turn right! You see it? Where is it? Can it be like an ancient god? You know, you stupid little things. Slow down, man. Slow down. What? It's gone. I don't see it. Man, do you see it? I've heard something on the news, something about Russia, military.
No, it's not Russia. It's Pentagon.
I seen it already, man. It was a new stealth bomber. It was announced in the news. You know.
No, man.
What's that ship? This alien spaceship, I tell you. Yes, I'm here. Sorry, but just because I must.
Kremlin has been circled by a UFO. Well, that's if you believe a video which has soared to the top of YouTube's Russian website. The pictures, apparently shot from a passing car, have become an online sensation. Another YouTube clip filmed during daylight shows a fuzzy grey object on the skyline near Red Square. Skeptics, however, say that if the images were real, the public would have reported sightings to police, who are currently making no comment.
And then there's the mysterious black smoke ring UFO. Or is it a mystery? We are living during incredibly deceptive times. This makes it really difficult to navigate any subject these days and try to find the actual truth. But it's still possible. Oftentimes when it comes to the paranormal or supernatural, it's even tougher to distinguish the truth, what is real, what's been faked. Sometimes there's an organic explanation to all of this. I've been interested in the black smoke ring UFOs for quite a while. I've even done 2 videos on them. By now, most of you have probably seen footage of these UFOs. This goes all the way back to 2013, and it's one of the earliest recorded sightings. But it was a sighting in Kazakhstan back in 2015 that brought these black smoke ring UFOs to the world's attention. And since then, over the last 5 years, there have been a few more sightings. And this is one of multiple reports of different sightings that took place in 2017. Mystery as eerie black rings appear in the sky around the world, including the UK. And this story is from October of 2017. September 2017. There's a reason I'm covering these black smoke UFOs, and it actually connects to something that recently took place here in 2020. But before I show you that, I want to show you this first. For many years, people have been saying that this right here is an example of what these black smoke ring UFOs are. And they have used this exact video to prove it. And here's another example from 2009 at the Bonnaroo Music Festival. Here's an example of what the ring looks like right after the explosion. Here's another shot of it further up in the air. And then there's a really good shot of it. And if you watch the video footage, it's only up there for maybe a minute or two, and it starts to quickly come back down and just fall apart. I've always wondered, are these one and the same? Because when I watch footage of these people creating these smoke vortexes, those smoke rings don't seem to act the same as the smoke rings that so many people have been reporting as UFOs. And if you think about it, there really hasn't been that many sightings of these or stories associating these with something that we have no understanding of. You'll even see the news stories conflicting with one another. Some of them immediately write the smoke rings off as another vortex or probably something from fireworks or an explosion. And then other articles actually spoke with local scientists, and the scientists themselves couldn't figure out exactly what those rings were. So are these one and the same, or is it just a convenient excuse? Well, let me show you a couple things associated with these black smoke ring UFOs. As far as modern times go, the most early account of these ring-shaped UFOs took place near an army base. I consider the television series Westworld to be more beast system propaganda. We see many of the common New World Order ideas played out in this series. On another level, this is all about another race of beings taking over humanity. And as we find so often with television shows or movies that are putting forth these New World Order ideas, no matter which specific ideas they are, it's common we'll find the symbols. Westworld is no different in that it is filled with beast system symbolism, or Illuminati symbolism. Even the opening sequence of Season 3 itself is all about as above, so below, the inverted world, which is exactly what we've been seeing take place in our real world for the last few years. Everything that was once thought of as good replaced with bad, and bad replaced with good. So there's one symbol in particular I want you to take note of, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Before we do, let's discuss Westworld just a little bit longer. Throughout the entire series, there's lots of all-seeing eye symbolism as well. Even right here, one of the characters is standing in front of the evil organization of Season 3 called Insight. Insight is very interesting. The central villain of the series runs Insight, and he's created an artificially intelligent hive mind. And just like so many other dictators, tyrants, and fascists we've seen throughout history, he wants control over humanity. And he seeks to achieve this by using a device he's created called the Rehoboam. It's the evil core of this organization. So let's take a look at this right here. This is the villain actually explaining his satanic plans. Now check out his wicked creation, the Rehoboam. It's almost entirely comprised of triangles. However, at the very top, if you'll look closely, you'll see the pentagram. We just covered the Pentagon. When you look on top of this Rehoboam, you see the exact same symbol. These are all elements of the same beast system. And these symbols always tell us the rest of the story and show us these connections. Now here's the symbol I wanted you to see. I've got a few clips to show you. But I find it very interesting that the primary symbol of Insight, in fact the primary symbol surrounding the villain, he even has a watch with just the symbol on it, happens to be the black smoke ring. As I mentioned earlier, it's not just one type of UFO people are seeing an increase of now. There's multiple types of UFOs coming through, but there's also something else happening in the skies. Another interesting and rather new phenomenon is the mysterious glow that's being seen all around the world in the skies. Sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's yellow, it's been described as pink, you name it. And some of these sightings have been associated with sightings of orb UFOs. All the footage you're about to see has been captured just over the last 2 years. Most of it has taken place in this last year, and most of it has taken place in 2020. So ask yourself, what could this be? Why does this seem to be happening more now? What's with the increase of these sightings? And ultimately, what is this a sign of? Perhaps this is evidence of the dimensions shifting or of the veil lifting.
It's 3:45 p.m. Suddenly darkness has descended upon Beijing. Literally 10 minutes ago it was pretty light, and now it's this.
I don't know if you can see this or not, but the sky is lighting up pink and blue. Don't know where this is coming from. It stopped. Watch. I hope I'm not the only one seeing this. Oh my goodness. Wow. I forgot I had my phone in my pocket. Oh my goodness. The whole sky. Do not know what this is. And it's gone again. I got it recorded twice doing that. The second time was way brighter.
The camera doesn't give it justice. The camera doesn't show.
Yeah, the orange, real...
In the whole sky.
Orange, yeah.
What the heck is it?
No idea.
But the noise doesn't do it justice either.
За не можешь как? Ну.撞地就跌咗導彈就彈晒。Look, see that? See it? I don't know what it is at this point. I was zoomed all the way out. You can't see it. Then when I zoom in, it's there. It's literally there. Something is there. And it has a tail or a pillar of light coming down on it. Look at that. I'll try to get to the angle. What the hell is that?
Okay, we just saw a UFO blink in and then blink out. Right out there.
I don't know, Jaime.
Go to dip, bro.
No, you have to stay here, Toby.
Are we all gonna die, babe, tonight?
If we die?
What?
I'll die a virgin. Yo, I'm actually so scared.
Babe, this is the weirdest thing that's happened in my life right now. G-word.
Holy shit. Yo. Oh. Yo.
What is happening? Yes, I see this.
Yo.
What the hell?
I think it's a solar flare.
No one's freaking out like you?
Oh! Yo.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Yo, what's going on my YouTube channel?
At people and be like, do you fucking see this? This is more than a UFO. This is I've never seen this in my life.
Yo, I'm so scared.
You're only in Manitoba, you feel me? Why is this happening?
You only see this shit in Manitoba. You only.
Someone fucking tell me.
Dude, it's aliens. They escaped.
It's Morse code. It's all Morse code.
What if it literally was?
Fuck you.
What if this literally was Morse code from God or something?
We would never know this is happening.
I literally walked outside and I fucking looked up and it's just like...
Con cool. Oh no, I went too quick.
Holy crap. Yo, what the hell?
I've been looking up UFO footage for many years, and throughout the years I've formed different classifications, because they do come in many forms and many shapes. I tend to believe that a lot of the UFO activity that we witness is actually the same beings. I believe they're shapeshifters, they're interdimensional, demonic interdimensional beings, and some people associate these sightings with the fallen angels. Either way, I see it all as a satanic deception. This is one of my favorite captures over the last couple of years. This was seen live during a news broadcast in Milwaukee. This is another type of UFO, or another form that they're taking, that we're seeing more and more of now.
Are those fireworks? What is that?
They look like some fireworks or something.
Aliens? I don't know.
What the heck
What
is
is that? You see it, right?
I'm actually, yes,
Okay.
I do see it.
Okay.
It's getting weirder by the second.
I know.
It's like they're sticking around.
We're gonna do some
Anybody?
digging and figure out what that is. Back in a moment.
As always, there's some kind of a lame mainstream answer for this. This time around, they claimed these were seagulls. Again, ask yourself, if these were seagulls, don't you think we would have seen this anomaly before? I find this type of UFO very interesting because they do look very much like spirits in the sky. Seagulls typically don't leave trails behind them. These seem to have some kind of a tail. Also, judging by how high up these are, those would have to be enormous seagulls. Here's another fascinating example I want to share with you. This is a good example of how these things shapeshift. They're transformers. At first, they're orbs, they even form into diamonds. And then if you watch this footage till the very end that I'm about to show you, you'll see them turn more into these types of UFOs with the little tail, almost looking like spirits in the sky. Also, with this particular sighting, many people immediately said that it had to do with a light show.
They're all moving. And that triangle in the middle is a bunch of small ones. Probably like 15 or 20 gathered together.
It's a whole bunch of drones. They're drones. Miss Tracy, there's something outside I want you to see. No, it's like weird. Oh, look in the. No. Wait a minute. Look at. Oh, that's gotta be drones. Yeah. It looks like drones. Yeah, I don't want to get like murdered or hunt down right now. Like, can y'all like go to a different city?
Are drones that coordinated?
Like, what are they even created? What are they helping over our house? A diamond.
Now they're all separating.
Oh yeah, you see the red one.
Now they're turning into fireballs.
It's not here.
Not sure what that is, but we gotta go else we're gonna be late. Look, there's 3 of them now. seem to be moving in formation. One's splitting off from the bigger one. I'm just on my smartphone. I can't really zoom in that much, but I mean, it's morning. It's 6:15 in the morning. I gotta cut this video off because I gotta go. I'll continue watching it. If anything crazy happens, I'll try to get video.
저기 비칠 리가 없는데 맞지? 나도 좀 찍어놔야겠다. 유튜브에 올리면 되겠다. 아직 확실히 모르니까. 없어졌다. 저기 있다. 야, 신기하다. 와, 이건 뭐야? 희귀한 일이다. 대박. 야, 여기 건물도 얘 주시해. 건물도 건물과 같이 나오게. 뭐지 진짜? 뭐야 이게? 희한하다. 길러겠다. 길러겠다. 생쇼도 아니고 이게 뭐야 이게? 이런 게 하는 게 없는데 맞지?
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, there goes another one. That's the aliens coming out of outer space. You don't even know.
Nice. Fucking 4.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What the fuck? You don't even know it. That's crazy.
UFO, ladies and gentlemen. Where the fuck it went?
Disappeared in the light. You don't even know.
I see it. Look, that shit just turned to the moon.
It's turning to the moon?
That's what it's turning to.
Oh, you mean it's going towards the moon?
No, it looked like it's the moon in the camera. Look, come look at it.
Yeah, it do look like it's two moons.
Two moon.
If only your camera was that high tech, you could actually see the shit clear.
What's really in there?
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. That's why they fly that high. But they got camera that could actually see it now the light got brighter. You see the light, it's like a star now.
See that shit? It's shining. You don't even know it. He don't know it. We just saw an alien getting shot down. You don't even know. And another alien went to follow the ship. You don't even know it.
What I think they're doing is dropping shit. Cause you remember the ocean down there?
They want somebody like you to say that they're dropping shit
in the ocean.
Yeah, but it's probably an alien.
Yeah, or the alien spaceship going down.
Because that sounds like, oh yeah, they're trying to kill us by polluting the air. But it could be the alien. What the fuck the whole ear? Probably some leftover turkey, Thanksgiving turkey nobody ate really cooked over here.
I lost it.
Just in the last year, there have been even more bizarre sightings, different shapes and forms unlike anything we've seen before. There's even footage of what appear to be portals opening up in the sky.
Не знаю, что это такое, типа метеорита, что ли. Ну, какие-то испарения от этой штуки. Хо-хо-хо, исчезла. Центр не видно.
So loud. What the heck? I think they're letting off something. So loud. What the heck? I think they're letting off something.
And then you get these sounds. Sounds like a bottle rocket. Like a decompression or something. And then like a warble. It warbles for a while and then it just goes quiet and then it just screams, blood curdling, and it fills the entire sky. And it echoes again. You could hear it in your ears. Like feel it in your eardrums. Oh, that is just the scariest fucking death scream. What is that sound? Alright, I'm going back inside. And then you get these sounds. Okay, so I went ahead and jumped on my bike and I'm trying to like hunt this sound down. And I can't find it. It's still like way off in that direction somewhere. You hear that? It's coming from so far back there, but it's so loud. I've never heard anything like that. Right now it sounds like bearings, like... Right now here, it's gonna scream. That is so freaking loud. Dude, I need to call like the newspaper and find out what this is. I'm in the middle of a parking lot with a metal bike.
That is horrible. It sounds like somebody screaming for help in the fucking sky.
The lightning sirens of the baseball field, so maybe it might be the sirens from Kyle Field, the lightning sirens.
That shit would have been on KPTX though. There you go.
Listen to this. There's a sound screaming. It's like a scream. It's so freaking loud, and it's coming from up in the air, like up there. It's been going on now. What is that? I swear I saw like this thing when the lightning was flashing a second ago. What the fuck? Dude, that's coming from like up in the sky outside of my apartment. It's gonna do it. Listen. What is that? I haven't heard it like that yet. Gene, check this out. Listen. This is coming from the sky above my apartments. It's been going on for half an hour. Hold on. It's coming from up in the air. What is that? That's so scary. It sounds like someone screaming. Then it sounds like a bunch of like Indians whooping in the distance. What is that bizarre sound? Here, I'll be right back. Staker. Did you hear that? It's like a blood-curdling scream, but it's coming from like up here in the sky. Anybody else hear that? Oh, gross, I just stepped in a bunch of mud. What is that sound? Now it sounds like it's coming from behind me. This is so bizarre. I better not. So it's coming off from that direction. Please tell me. Woo! It sounds like ah! It sounds very human. I mean, across the way here, there's no factories. There's nothing like that. So I don't. It's just it's a field. There's my dog. Birdie! Oh! Birdie! She's saying, get back inside. What up, Shelly? Listen to this. there's this sound coming from up in the sky in this general vicinity. What up, Kristen? And like it's been like doing this little vibration sound, and then it just lets out this blood-curdling, screamy sound like a banshee. And it's been like half an hour ever since the lightning and thunder started. Shelly, wait till it screams. Woo! That one was big. I'm like standing in the middle of a field right now. All right, listen, it's gonna do it any second, Shelly. Hold on. That is so fucking scary. I get goosebumps. I don't know what that is. All right, I'm going back inside. I've had enough of the screaming band. Yeah, that sounds like someone screaming bloody murder. I mean, that is not cool. Whatever it is. And it literally sounds like it's coming from the sky. If anybody recognizes that sound, let me know. All right, I'm out. I know, right, Shelly? Hold on a second. Whew. My hair's all windblown and wet. Here, hold on a second. Is it pretty loud over the phone? I mean, I always thought the horns of Jericho would sound... Man, it's almost like someone has some big-ass stereo speakers up on top of one of these buildings, and they're just blaring this sound, like a sound effects of someone screaming in like a haunted forest or something. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I've done one.
Isn't that bizarre?
So we've seen this narrative in the news stories. We've seen the footage detailing an increase of all kinds of activity in the skies. But that's not all. Recently there was a SpaceX launch. They sent 2 astronauts to dock with the International Space Station. NASA is a large part of this beast system, and it's heavily Freemasonic. Almost every event or launch that comes out of NASA is coded or is ritualistic. These rituals are paying reverence to their sun god, Lucifer. Here's a picture of the actual capsule they just sent up. It's called Crew Dragon. Of course, it has the dragon on there. Going back to the Bible, a very obvious symbol of the beast. Here's an example of how they've coded some numbers in this recent Falcon 9 mission. First off, we look at the date. It was May 30th, 2020. So right there we find the 322. And the 322 is American Illuminati. It goes back to the Skull and Bones. And just in case you think that's a coincidence, you can look it up and you'll see the news stories report as 322 being the time of the actual launch. So we had a launch at 322 on 322. The number 33 is extremely important to Freemasons for various reasons. Perhaps most notably, the highest level of Freemasonry is the 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite. They launch from Cape Canaveral. The first 2 letters of Cape Canaveral are C. It's the 3rd letter in the alphabet. Together, that's a 33. The only launch pad at White Sands, New Mexico is Launch Pad 33, and following the first shuttle mission, the landing on Earth took place on Runway 33. The Apollo 11 mission is probably one of the best examples of how NASA will create these Masonic rituals right in front of the public, but so few people understand or see. Whether it actually happened or it was filmed in a Hollywood studio, the mission itself was filled with Masonic symbolism. Much of the planning of the Apollo 11 mission, in particular the launch window, was organized by a man named Farouk Elbaz. He determined the precise details of the launch and the landing itself, including exactly where and when the astronauts would touch down on the moon. Elbaz was known to have many Masonic links and connections, especially through his work. and his father was an expert in ancient Egyptian rituals. Many Masonic lodges still use elements of these rituals in modern times. Both the landing site and the precise timings of the mission are said to have been down to an apparently perfect alignment with Orion's belt. Elbaz was also responsible for the finer details of the launch. Although Neil Armstrong was the first astronaut to step on the moon's surface, it appears that fellow astronaut Buzz Aldrin may have had a deeper involvement in ensuring that the Masonic elements of the mission were a success. Aldrin appears to have been much more involved in the finer aspects of the mission that were not for public consumption. Shortly after landing, but before leaving their craft for the moon's surface, the Apollo 11 crew took part in a small communion ceremony according to official records. What's interesting is the rite of communion actually dates back beyond the Catholic Church to ancient Egypt. This ceremony has its roots in the secret societies that existed during that time and ultimately spawned the lodges of Freemasonry around the world today. In this sense, an act of communion is essentially an offering to Osiris, Osiris being another representation of their sun god. Same with Apollo, Apollo 11. The 11's the twin system. Apollo is another representation of the sun god. The Apollo 11 astronauts left various items on the moon's surface before they returned to Earth. It's claimed that some of these items contained Masonic symbols and that they were offerings to Osiris as part of a communication ritual. The secretive offerings supposedly included silk Masonic scarves that were blessed on the moon. And at least one of these scarves was said to have been brought back to Earth after this ritual and presented to a Masonic lodge in Washington, D.C. Much of this information and more was found in an interview with Buzz Aldrin in 1969 from a magazine called The New Age. In the article he says, "When man reaches new worlds, Masonry will be there." Throughout the interview, Aldrin made no secret of his involvement with the Freemasons or the fact that, according to him, they are all well invested in every aspect of modern life. And we find a very obvious connection to Apollo 11 and Osiris in this ritual that took place on the Washington Monument just last summer. They were celebrating the Apollo 11 mission 50 years later. They decided to do this by broadcasting it on the side of the Washington Monument. The Washington Monument is actually a symbol for Osiris's penis. Another ritual in plain sight, all in reference to their sun god. Now this brings us back to Elon Musk. You may remember some of these stories coming out just a few years ago. Many people were noticing the obvious symbolism with SpaceX. And of course that symbolism had to do with the penis. Here's another example. This comes from 2015 and from billionaire Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. In 2015, billionaire Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, launched a rocket ship called the New Shepard. Interestingly enough, many people pointed out the symbolism with this rocket as well. All of these are references back to Osiris. Osiris was killed by his brother Set and cut into 14 pieces, and then he was scattered throughout the land, and it said that wherever a piece of Osiris landed, a temple would grow. The Egyptians actually acted out this myth ritualistically by building temples and pyramids at locations of the Orion constellation, mirrored all around the Nile River. They presumed the Nile River to be the mirror of the Milky Way galaxy. Later in the story, Isis, with the help of Anubis, tracked down and found all the pieces of Osiris except for the penis, which was said to have been eaten by a fish, having its powers thereafter submerged in the waters of the Nile River, making it in a sense holy water for these people. Some of you may remember when this image came out and everybody was trying to figure out what this meant. Was this some kind of a cryptic message with the 14 and the fish? So in this picture, the missing penis makes the 14 pieces, but also the number 14 is theorized to be significant of the 14 stars of the Orion constellation. And as mentioned, the Egyptians were building temples and pyramids at locations along the Orion constellation. Also, Osiris was associated with Orion as the dying and rising god of Egypt, just as the Orion constellation rise to the vertical position each night in November and December, or the 14 days of the half-lunar period, 28 days, thereby being symbolic of the moon being chopped up as goes from a full moon to a half moon, Osiris also being viewed as a moon god in some cases. And finally, we have this story here that just came out a few years ago, which brings our whole cast of characters together. Inside the Ultra Elite Explorers Club that counts Jeff Bezos, Buzz Aldrin, James Cameron, and of course Elon Musk as members. It all goes back to Osiris, Apollo, ultimately Lucifer. He goes by many names.
His second term, from looming questions over Benghazi to the war in Afghanistan. Keep it here as our special coverage of Inauguration Weekend continues.
Now, wake up Grandma if you have to. This is the most emailed story on FoxNews.com.
Wait a minute.
Is that a UFO flying over President Obama's inauguration?
It looks like it.
As you can see, the video shows an unknown flying object past Washington Monument.
So as you can see, there's a lot of strange activity in the sky. There's an increase in this strange activity. There's also an obvious UFO alien narrative at play in our media, and we're finding more and more of these public rituals taking place, all of which are meant to honor their sun god, Lucifer. It really is fascinating to me how all of this is lining up, and it really is increasing. I've been saying for years that the veil is lifting, that dimensions are shifting, stranger things are coming in, and certainly there is uneasiness all around the world right now. It almost feels as if anything could happen. And considering the times we're in now, I absolutely believe that's true. So as always, I want to thank you for watching my video. Take care out there and remember not to live in fear, and I'll talk to you a little later.